Howdy, folks. I'm Nim Jickles, and this is the Ain't That a Bitch podcast. Episode, something, 15? Ballpark estimation. Point is, we're back. We've returned from our very long and unplanned hiatus, caused by, for some reason, the increase of school workflow with the quarantine crackdown due to coronavirus. So, yeah, that's still going on. Apparently, this should be out a week from when I'm recording it. So, while this is being recorded, we are, a week or two? 2 weeks into May. And the city of Calgary is beginning to supposedly lighten the lockdown. So some small businesses that were previously closed are now being allowed to open up. There's some lighter restrictions. Schools will remain closed until next year, and God only knows what's going to happen then. And I guess large public gatherings probably aren't going to happen. The stampede, I would guess, is not going to happen. I'm sure there's an official statement somewhere. But yeah, so far, since schools have closed down and online classes have begun, oddly enough, even though the Calgary Board of Education has instructed teachers, staff members to only be giving out approximately 3 hours of work per week, which is not a lot. You could not make a living wage off of those hours. But somehow everyone feels like they're having more work to do than ever before. Whether that's true or not, it's entirely possible. Hey, I'm as eager as the next guy to go and complain that it's the school's fault and that teachers don't know how to handle online classes and that they're giving us more work than before because they don't know what they're doing. They're overcompensating for not having classroom environment, this, that, and the other. But let's be honest, there's a very real possibility that it's just we've become lazy fat asses in the week or two into quarantine, and so we're all massively reduced in productivity, and that's the real culprit. But regardless, same old. All's well that ends well, and thus far this hasn't ended well, so all is not well, you could say. But lots of big news, things that I would love to have been caught up on, but again, things have just been, I hate to say that things have been hectic because everyone's saying that. Everyone's saying, oh, things are so difficult with the quarantine. Things have changed. And I don't like that fact because I don't think they are, for me, personally. Obviously, not to devalue all the struggles of other people during these definitely different times. But personally, I don't feel like my life should be affected very much. I don't have to go to work in order to make money to sustain my life. My parents don't have to be going to work in order to make money to sustain their well-being. Because my dad is a university professor, so he can work from home. My mom is self-employed, and she's receiving a government whatever, essentially, hush money. No, but in all seriousness, things could be much worse. But my thoughts going into it, selfish as it may be, is I really thought that because of this lockdown, I would have a little bit more free time. And at the start, that was how it was going. Everyone was saying how bored they were with quarantine, and I thought that was absolutely ridiculous. There's nothing to be bored about, because there's just so many things that you can be doing with your time. Avatar: The Last Airbender back on Netflix. That in itself is enough. But now, man, I don't know anyone that's really bored. Not if they're taking IB classes, that is, high school kids. Even my brother, who's still maintaining the position of audio manager and editor and everything, now that no one else is on the team. The team is 2 people. Even he is in 7th grade, has been seeing a pretty great, significant increase in his workload. So, all around, not great news, but that the little things, the personal grievances that we have, should not blind us, stop us from seeing the overall big picture, which is still very much, as exciting as the world ever is. Because now with lockdown, no one's leaving their houses. We're not having any more Area 51 raids. We're not having any more, World War III is probably not going to happen. But that does not stop things from being interesting. As far as I can tell, people have finally shut the fuck up about celebrities catching coronavirus. However, that doesn't stop them from targeting world leaders. No, but very early on in the coronavirus pandemic, there was a talk about people near Trump being tested positive, people near Trudeau being tested positive. And then, out of the blue, a month ago or whatever, Kim Jong-un, dictator of North Korea, disappears off the grid, says he's been taken into intensive care. Did they even say what it was from? Wasn't even from COVID-19, by the way. I think it was heart-related issue, presumed. I think we can all safely presume it was something related to diabetically induced heart failure. I think that would be a safe bet. Had one too many ding-dongs or something. But point is, he was taken into intensive care. That was reported. Then, a little while later, it was reported he was dead. But it also wasn't. We basically had no idea. We were stuck for, a week and a half of absolute limbo about whether or not this guy, one of the leader of one of the world's, if not a world superpower, but definitely a world supervillain, we were stuck in a limbo of having no idea if he was alive or dead. He effectively turned himself into Schrodinger's Dictator, where because literally no one can get into or out of North Korea, and no one can even get into or out of their front doors anymore, there was absolutely no way of knowing whether or not he was alive or dead. Honestly, Xi Jinping, China's president, you can't see the air quotes, could have probably pulled off the same thing, but with Kim Jong-un, it's much more interesting. So, point is, some people were saying he was dead. A lot of people were saying he wasn't. A lot of people were saying he was. His sister was supposed to take over for him, and immediately people started making hentai of her. Naturally, but more importantly for the world, less importantly for the individual man, she was going to take over as the okay, well, I'm a little iffy on this, but they're saying first female dictator, or at the very least only living female dictator. I'm sure she wasn't the first, I'm sure she won't be the last, and she never even was one. But it was enough, it was confirmed enough, at least in the minds of the American layman, which is, albeit not very much of a mind, but is there nonetheless, that there was people tweeting things like, oh, finally time for a female dictator. I mean, it is a pandemic. Take what you can get, I guess. Only because it's the end of the world would I be willing to accept that as like a reasonable reaction to have. But, you do you, fam, I guess. I don't know what to say. Reacting to the reported death of a horrifically overweight dictator being replaced by a sister, and what you get out of that. So, listen, think about this interaction. You're consuming some media, and this is the information you get. Kim Jong-un, dictator of North Korea, has died. His sister now is next in line to take over his role as leader of North Korea. A power change is occurring during this massive crisis of, global health and the global economy and global politics, and everything is being affected globally by the COVID-19 pandemic, and right now we're having a massive power shift in one of the most volatile countries in the world. And what you get out of that is, female dictator? Finally! Epic, like big win, victory royale, guys. Hit the fat feminist dab. But that's besides the point. I'm gonna need my pit crew to confirm this real quick, but I believe it's been reported that Kim Jong-un did not in fact die, and possibly even faked his own death, which I have to say is a massive gamer move. Now, this is something, guys, world leaders everywhere, please take notes. The fact that this hasn't been done before, and the fact that it had not occurred to me that this could be done before, is really a shameful and heartbreaking realization for myself and for the world in general. Faking your own death during a time when people are dropping like flies and hardly anyone bats an eye, genius, outstanding, amazing. Even if it wasn't for the COVID-19 thing. Again, a place like North Korea, even China with enough effort, their leaders could have faked their own deaths at any point and easily kept it at the very least on a 50-50 scale of, did they or didn't they? And yet they didn't. Did you confirm anything for me, by the way?
Confirmed about what?
Is Kim Jong-un alive?
Yes, he is alive.
And did he fake his death?
That's not confirmed.
Well, if he did, kudos. If he didn't, missed an opportunity. But if he did, it would just make too much sense not to do. And if he didn't do it, it would, again, have made too much sense that it's very disappointing that he supposedly died and didn't actually use the opportunity. I don't know what to tell you. Like, if I was he and I found myself in a position like that, I would 100% think this, what are you, fake your own death. It makes so much sense and it's so ingenious in a world where you're more or less certain that everyone who knows your name has talked smack about you behind your back. Let's be honest. There was an entire movie made about trying to assassinate this guy, and it was a comedy, right? Okay, I guess unless you count something like Jojo Rabbit, but this was a comedy made about a living real life person and trying to assassinate them, and it was a comedy, probably one of the few movies of its kind, absolutely outlandish. It's called The Interview, right? That was a while ago. I saw trailers for that a long time ago before I even knew who Kim Jong-un was. But it obviously got banned in North Korea. Astonishing to me that the people who made that movie weren't nuked on the spot. Just, whatever greater city area that they happen to be residing in at the moment. But that movie got made. So it gives you an idea for the scale to which, the world just treats Kim Jong-un either as a joke or a baby with a gun, of which he's, in a sickly ironic way, kind of both. So what better way to root out the people amongst your own country, which is everyone, who also thinks those things about you, than to fake your own death and then give everyone the opportunity to start speaking freely. Now, here's the problem. Just because Kim Jong-un dies doesn't mean his regime is necessarily over, right? Because the person who's going to be taking over is his sister. It's not a wild difference. People probably weren't going to just start being like, oh, finally I can say, man, fuck that guy, right? Am I right? I want to say that one for a dozen years. I don't know how long he's been in power. But what are you here for then? William's shaking his head at me like, oh, don't look at me. I don't know. What do you think I pay you for?
You know what I do? But you know what I do know is that there's been 4 female dictators in the past.
In the world? Who?
Yeah. I can't pronounce any of these names.
Let me see. Flip it over like Sean
name is
Digable.
Gandhi.
Oh my God, Gandhi.
I'm not.
You really outdid
did
yourself.
some research to see if I could figure out how.
Well, also, it's dictator specifically, which is a dictator is one thing, right? There's been female monarchs, Catherine the Great, some other Catherines, every British queen, Elizabeth's, the Victorias. God damn, what's her name? Egyptian chick. William.
Cleopatra.
Yep, that one. There's even that Russian one. Never mind, that was Catherine. Wow, Civilization's Revolution depicted Catherine the Great very differently than epic rap battles of history. Both, I should point out, not the best examples of historic accuracy.
Okay, so Kim
you know.
Jong-un has been supreme leader of North Korea since 2011.
That's okay. That's a surprisingly short amount of time. Who was before him? Oh, never mind. Kim Jong-il. I knew that. And that was his dad, I suppose. So, anyways, again, it's like they're all part of the same family. It's part of the same regime, if you will. So, people aren't going to immediately just start dropping the ball on those things. But if it had been faked, which I would assume it wasn't, that it'd just be way too cool during a time like this to actually have happened. Who knows? Sometimes life imitates art. Reality stranger than fiction. Truth stranger than fiction is what I... Shut the fuck up. But if I had been in his place again, you fake your own death and then, fake basically the fall of North Korea in its entirety, and then everyone, and like it's done, it's over. Everyone's free. I don't know. Maybe fake your entire family your entire family died. I don't know. I don't care. Figure it out, right? And then everyone, right now, everyone's gonna be like, oh, so and you observe just from your hidden bunker with your, Truman Show moon camera. You watch, go fly up to the moon, watch from the moon, everyone what they're doing, and like my God, it would just be too good to see what happened. Like, would South Korea and North Korea try and fuse back together? What would South Korea do? Would they try to govern the godless people of North Korea while they were between worlds, as it were? Who knows? At the very least, you could film awesome reality TV about it. And at most, Kim Jong-un would get to execute a lot of people. So win. All things said. Although the whole faking his death thing, maybe my brain is only taking it so far because it's still in the vein of that Woody Allen movie we watched last night. What was it called? Midnight Manhattan Murder Mystery or something. It was very illiterate. With an A, illiterate. Lots of alliteration and pretty straightforward title. Not a bad movie, but definitely got faked deaths and murder on the brain. At any rate, that is just one of the many things happening at the moment, and I'm gonna say the only one that I can remember. But what else is new, William?
This is episode 15. I found out.
I nailed it! Boom!
Anyways, through some research, I found out that either we need to start making more live action content, or we need to talk about anime body pillows again, because those are the best videos other than the first two.
Are you shitting me? Did the interview do well?
Yeah, man. It's
Well,
great.
William, that's because the only thing I've advertised on social for.
Then why aren't you advertising?
Because it was.
You know what, Charles? I'm gonna take charge of the advertising.
William, well, okay, if you want to take over, this is a conversation for another time, except not, because I don't have anything else to talk about. If you want to take charge of social media, sure, but I've been doing it lately. I've been on the ball, and you can see I've massively inflated our, at least, not, recognition base. All right, and then once this comes out, and then some more things come up, by the way, some things did get filmed, and William's actually editing them, which is a pleasant surprise. And once those start coming out, and those will go on social, and people will hopefully go to them, because we're going to start putting up video clips. Again, why I'm asking you to do some filming, because right now, all we had to put up for podcast episodes was the shitty logo that Sean and I designed overnight, which doesn't get anyone's attention, and it didn't even have any, whatever. It was just a piece of crap. By the way, Instagram, what the fuck are you doing? You can put hashtags in your captions, but not links, just not hyperlinks. Why? Why the fuck not? Come on. Like, I can only do so little, so much what I can't do shit, okay, on my own. Like, throw me a bone here. Just let me put hyperlinks in the captions, and then I can send people directly to my video. So at least, if a handful of people click it out of morbid curiosity, they can't take it back, and I'll get the view. I actually don't know if views work like that, because apparently YouTube's algorithms are revolving around, like, watch minutes or whatever. But, like, what the fuck does that mean? A view's still a view, right? Like, if you click on the video, it's counted as a view,
really
and that's
weird.
all I need.
I can't figure out, because, like, I've been trying to just give this channel Zakimals all of my views. I don't know, I found them, and they make videos about animals, and it's
I don't
really
think,
nice.
yeah, I don't think you can view the same video on the same account multiple
Yes,
times.
you can.
I don't think it works indefinitely.
No, it does a few times, but
Okay, so
not
what?
if you watch on 2 times speed. But it does work if you watch on 2 times speed for longer videos. So I think, I don't know.
I don't know what you're talking about. You're not fucking.
Everyone subscribe to Zakimals right now.
Look, Liam, you're not MatPat, alright? Zakimals, why? No, everyone subscribe to Let's Tape It. That guy is a comedic and entertainment genius. No. This guy has been taking things around his house and wrapping them entirely in tape since, like, 2000. I don't know, look him up. It's like since 2011 or something. The day Kim Jong-un became dictator of North Korea, he started Let's Tape It. He's been doing it for years, though, and it's just been the same thing. He's never once, I've looked through his entire channel, he has not made a single video trying to bandwagon off. He's not doing it for view. I don't know what he's doing it for. It can't be for views, because I don't think he's got many of those. But he takes things and doesn't smile and doesn't talk. He doesn't talk. I don't think he talks at all. And there's hardly any, like, intro to the videos. It's just taping a thing. Let's tape it or whatever. Whatever the thing is. And then he does that. He tapes it. He wraps it in duct tape or packaging tape or scotch tape, whatever. He's a man of many talents. And it's amazing, honestly. That's something you should check out. Legitimately. It's wonderful. I love it.
I don't know why.
Look at the oldest video. When's that from?
10 years ago.
10 years ago. So he's been doing it since 2010.
Close.
A year before Kim Jong-un. Eat your heart out, Kimmy. He's been Let's Tape It has existed for 1 year longer than Kim Jong-un's reign. That's some big dick energy right there. I'll be honest.
Grain of rice.
Oh yeah. I think the first thing he taped was, like, the Dreamcast, right? Like a Sega Dreamcast.
It's a motherboard.
Oh, a motherboard. That.
Sega Dreamcast was the third one, Charles. You're
Oh, I'm jumping ahead a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry, I wasn't an original fan. I went back. I feel really out of touch with all the OGs when they talk about it. I just hit the microphone.
See, but he doesn't need subscribers anymore. He's at 13K. That's more than us.
13,000 subscribers?
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad this guy has more subscribers than us. But you know who doesn't deserve to have more subscribers than us?
Who?
A lot of people. I can't remember who it was specifically. Yeah. Look, I've been on Reddit on r/deep into YouTube a little bit recently, and there are people who I just don't understand how they have more views than we do. I mean, where's the justice in the world, right?
I just don't understand how the anime body pillow got more views than the boobs video.
Of course it did. We live in a society, Liam. Anime body pillows or boobs. And the boobs one had Aiden on it, so right there it's a deficit. The anime body pillows episode is the best episode we have and ever will make of this show, okay? And it was without the blue penis, which really upsets me. You won't get that unless you're one of 4 people, because it's not even in the video, and the video hasn't even come out that it's not in, so...
No, wait, that's video's gonna come out.
Yeah, never.
Why? It's gonna come
You're
out
never
before
going to make it.
Brothers.
You're gonna do Piku Niku before you do that.
I probably am.
I hate you.
We're gonna have to, like, censor all that because they can't know our schedule.
Yeah, censor all of this. Censor everything I'm saying.
Didn't happen. Anyways.
I'm gonna send you... I sent you all those other videos, didn't I? Hangouts?
No,
Hangout?
no, I don't think so.
I could have sworn I did.
Wow.
I'll do it at some point.
You know what's crazy?
What's up?
I found out recently that COVID-19...
Are you on this episode, by the way?
This episode?
Yeah.
No.
Exactly. Shut the fuck up. Okay, what?
I remember in your video you said COVID-19 is an acronym for
Corona of viruses in
Detroit.
Detroit 19. Yeah.
Not too far off. It's the coronavirus, which is all of the COV is
That's just silly. That's just silly.
Corona is CO, virus is VI.
Yeah, no shit. Oh, the VI. Okay, yeah.
And the
COVID. The D is for dick.
Dick, yeah. And 19 is because it
Started in 2019? It's ridiculous.
I know. So there's never going to be a 2000. Well, unless. I hope there's not a COVID 20.
I would love to have a COVID for every consecutive year beyond this one. That would be fantastic. Oh, that was the other thing I mentioned to William the other day, and then wanted to mention here. This was a thing that was in memes last year in 2019. It started coming up. You know, not like it wasn't a new format or anything, but it was mentioned a couple of times, just as things do when the new year starts coming around. People start thinking about what's going to be in the next year. Is it a leap year? Is it? Well, in this case, you know, we had no idea all the shit that would go down, but what we did know through basic astronomy was this year's Halloween is on a full moon. And ever since, you know, everything else that seemed at the time to be of much greater importance occurred, talk of that has completely ceased as far as I'm aware. I haven't heard anyone mention it, but open your eyes, folks. This is what matters, right? Okay, COVID-19, we know what's happening now, right? I mean, we still don't know jack shit about the virus itself. We have absolutely no clue what it does or how to stop it. We're nowhere near having a vaccination. We still don't know if dogs can fucking get it, okay? I've heard an equal amount of articles with absolutely conflicting verdicts on that, okay? We have absolutely no idea what happens. We still don't even know if masks work. Hell, masks may make it worse. Masks may be the best way of transmitting COVID-19. You know, it's entirely possible, but 5G is also causing cancer. But what's important is, COVID-19, spreading COVID-19. Cancer is past, by the way. Cancer was killed by COVID-19. Nobody has cancer anymore. Everyone who had cancer got it replaced by COVID. And then died, so it doesn't matter. Cancer's gone. But what does matter is every month we've been, you know, looking forward to every month what is the new plague going to be. And I don't mean plague like new coronavirus. It's always coronavirus, but new plague like the biblical plagues that Moses sent, all right? We had our locusts, except they were killer wasps. We've had our that's the only one I know. Anyways, so that was May's, right? Was May the killer wasps? Or was that April?
Murder.
Same fucking difference. Everyone's, whatever. Murder hornets, I'll be honest, bit of a letdown. Didn't hear about a lot of people who got actually murdered by them. And at first when I heard this, it was very alarming. That was the other thing I want to talk about, thanks. It was very alarming. It's like, okay, murder hornets. That's a big name to give to a bee. Not that there's nothing to be afraid of bees for. Personally, I'm as terrified of bees as anybody you will ever find.
It's a hornet, which is close to a wasp.
Wasp's closer to a bee than a butterfly.
Yeah.
There you go.
Got me there.
So I'm right, relatively speaking. Bee is shorter to say than wasp or hornet. Hornet's 2 syllables and wasp sounds retarded. So my meaning is, I'm afraid of bees as the next guy, right? Bumblebee, honeybee, you know, the most basic shit in the world. And if I see black and yellow heading towards me, I stop. I freeze. I stand stock still. I don't breathe. I don't blink until it's gone past my vicinity. I've been doing that since I was like 4 years old. Since I could walk outside the door, I've been doing that. And now, even though I can't walk outside the door, I still do it. But point is, to hear that pop up, it's just like Asian murder hornets have entered the United States. It's like, all right, so let's be logical about this, okay? As much as all the Karens and all the uneducated bumpkins in the world would like to think, North America is not the only continent with human beings on it, right? If these things came from Asia and they're really murder hornets, then people in Asia would already know about them and care. I'll have to be honest, as much as I love what meme culture has done for the world, you know, there is something that does aggravate me just the slightest bit, which is that people always, just because of how fast things can spread now, it feels as though, and I'm sure plenty of uneducated people think, that things basically get invented as they become memes. I think I mentioned this before, but stuff like the dancing, the coffin dancers, love that, by the way. Love the meme, and I love the fact that that's a real thing. I really appreciate the practice in itself as well, celebrating. I assume it's to celebrate the life and passing of a person rather than mourning the fact that they're no longer in your life. But to make an event out of it, to make a celebration out of it, that's fantastic. And the meme is awesome, hilarious. But the way it exploded so much is it just gave me the feeling of like, yeah, this thing, it was invented a few months ago when the meme became big, which is of course not true. It's a practice that I'm sure has been around for much longer than we've been in this country, much longer than Europeans have been in North America, much longer than we knew about Africa's civilizations in general. But it just recently got popularity. It's like, it's always been just as funny and it's always been just as cool, but now it matters because it's a meme. Whatever, it's just my 2 cents. You want to laugh at the meme, go ahead, laugh at the fucking meme. I don't give a shit. But with this is a little bit silly to me, and it's a little bit ridiculous, I find, because it's like, they're not gonna kill you. I mean, they absolutely can kill you. That is true. But it's not like, it can't be that bad because it's not COVID-19. It's not the coronavirus, which is absolutely unprecedented. The closest thing that we've ever seen to it had a lower kill rate and, more importantly, spread much less effectively. That is the biggest thing about coronavirus, obviously, is how effectively it can spread, how long it can last without symptoms. And by the way, that meme I saw a long time ago when this was still just an issue in China, really, that how coronavirus screwed up and isn't gonna successfully, win its game of Plague Inc. because it became deadly. No, not lethal, just severe. That's it. Severity. It upped its severity too early on, which is obviously, for all you plebs out there, not a good way to win Plague Inc. If you raise severity, people will start looking for a cure. Yeah, well, that meme has not aged well because it very clearly did exactly what you want to do in Plague Inc., which is manage to hide itself from people who have gotten it for weeks or even months before immediately killing them. So, yeah, I mean, jinxed it. But, knock on wood. Point is, these things are not brand new. They were a species that existed. If China had genetically bred these things over the last couple of months, and they were just released from some, laboratory or something, that would be really cool. Maze Runner shit. And that would be a totally different story. But these have already existed in Asia, in, I think, Japan area, and probably East Asia, or Eastern China or something like that, for a time now. And like, people haven't been freaking out. There hasn't been memes about, oh yeah, you live in Australia where there's spiders that can, eat your shoes. Well, I live in Asia with the murder hornets. Like, it's never been a thing. So it can't be, right? And that was just what I was thinking when I first heard about it. And so I, went and did the research, and naturally I went and read some really reliable, like, news article or blog post or something, and then I forgot everything. So there's no end to the story. I don't know. I don't remember what I read.
You know what is cool?
What's up?
The full moon on Halloween is actually going to be a blue moon, because there's also full moon on October 1st.
Oh, ain't that something? Well, that's interesting. Oh yeah, that's what I was talking about, was the Halloween thing. But yeah, murder hornets weren't a big deal. Again, by the time this comes out, it doesn't matter because everyone realizes that. But when it first came out, to the people who were freaking out, I can now say, called it to your past self, back in time. I called it. Loser. Sucker. But looking to the future, we got May was murder hornets. June, right?
Yes.
What was April?
Maybe April was murder.
January was the fires, right? Or was it World War III? World War Three fires. Australia fires were, I guess, the end of 2019. It started end of 2019, went into 2020. I would say fires. Well, January had the fires and World War Three and coronavirus all at once, triple threat. Which is honestly, I feel like one of those three things had to happen, or had to continue, right? It ended up being the coronavirus, but if we had managed to put a cork in that, then World War III would have broken out, or the fires would have ravaged the land, and all of Australia would have gone down. Something, the fires would have learned to swim and then reached Asia or something. Because it's just, it's got to be something. And those three things were a pretty good trifecta. There's no hurricanes or tornadoes, which is disappointing, and no meteor strike. Meteorite would be the last of the iconic ones, right? Like a virus, a war, a meteor strike, or like a famine, right?
I'm looking for calendars that say like the things, but then they're all old, so by now we're supposed to be in like a fight with robot titans.
Well, that's just silly.
Right? No, never happened.
We need an updated one.
Abducted by aliens right now.
Oh. Well, if we're gonna be fighting robots, hey, I remember my other thing. It's gonna be Elon Musk's Kyle. It's gonna be the robot.
Have you seen that picture of like the bald Elon Musk head on the baby body?
Gross, no.
Really scary.
But the audience just did. Blam!
They sure did.
There's Kyle.
Wasn't that scary?
Baby Kyle. Whoa, jump scare. Blech. Point is, we had whatever the fuck we had for all this time, and then we got up to May. So now we have June, July, August, and September ahead of us. All unknowns. At one... who knows what's going to happen in all those, right? I mean, I would guess tsunamis, right? We're going to have another hurricane because those have been happening, right? That was like, they were warming us up for that. Have a hurricane at some point. A drought would be interesting. I'd mix it up. Like I said, meteor strike always open for possibility.
Yeah, it's scheduled for December according to this.
Okay, and then right after we begin to rebuild, all the people killed by the meteorite rise from the dead on the blue moon Halloween. There you go.
That's October's before December.
I thought you said September.
Oh,
dumbass.
September is the nuclear strike.
Nuke? Oh, from angry Kim Jong-un.
Probably.
He's gonna find all the porn of his sister.
It says that August is zombies, which I think is inaccurate.
No, move that to October.
Yeah.
Fucking wrong.
October is just cloud.
No, December's gonna be great. December's gonna be New Ice Age. Santa's gonna come and Santa's gonna ride up in his sleigh, like, what's up, bitches? With some automatic weapons and shoot every child he goes past. Santa's reindeer mutiny. No, the elves mutiny. Okay, here's December's plague, right? The virus is going away because towards the end of the year, right? It can only last 1 year. That's the rules. So we're starting to develop a vaccine. We've almost got it. Now, it's December, it's like December 21st or something. And the elves mutiny against Santa. And they take his sleigh and his reindeer and they fly over the world. And what the fuck is that? Whatever. And they fly all around the globe and drop all the toys that they've made, which are small nuclear warheads. And that just ends it all. And that would wipe out the virus finally, because there's no living things on the planet for them to infect. Brings it full circle, and Santa runs off with Kyle and Oprah Winfrey, and they go and start Earth 2.
You should write fanfiction about this. A fanfiction for God.
God.
You might take notes.
If God was ever taking feedback, he has stopped. or his head advisor somehow got replaced by a sociopath.
Maybe it's because you keep telling people to stop praying, Charles.
It's possible.
Maybe if we had all not watched nobody watched that video.
My video is godless. Where are my videos?
Well, the pictures. I made that.
Monstrosity. I hope y'all liked that. I didn't get
Great.
any
I worked hard making that at the
comments
end.
about
You
it.
can
Shut the
put it on
fuck
there.
up. I'm talking.
It's nice.
You don't get to talk over me on my show, William, unless you're a guest, and you're not. And even if you're a guest, I'll still beat you for it. But since you're not a guest, I don't know. I'll just fire you. But hey, that's life. So we have Doomsday to look forward to, hopefully by next year, right? I mean, let's not stretch it out any longer than that, okay? We've postponed it for a long time. The world was supposed to end in 2011, right? Yeah, September.
2012.
That was the movie, but in September 2011, I think there was a Doomsday prediction. September or November. Look it up. Yeah, we were in Michigan at that time. People were saying it was going to be the end of the world. It was some ancient, whatever, pagan calendar or whatever that predicted, I don't know. I'm going to say September 20th, 2011, end of the world. Boom.
This is May 21st. 2011 is our judgment day.
I was pretty close. I really don't remember it being May.
Kind of close.
Wasn't that close. No need to patronize me. But more excitingly, we have Halloween, the best Halloween, I think, of our lives. Looking forward to, right? Where we all put out candy bowls on our front porches and no one comes and you just get to eat it yourself, which is better because you always get the candy that you want for yourself. Anyways, Halloween 2020 is going to be people flood the stores, buy all the candy, and then just eat it for all of October. That's all it's going to be because no one's going to be trick-or-treating. Unless they are. I don't know. It's many months from now. But then if COVID-19 really has died down by October and people actually go out trick-or-treating, the moon is going to break. That full-ass blue moon is going to break to pieces and just fall to Earth. Thanos, Infinity War style, and crush us all like Iron Man. Or the government will finally unleash its blue moon mind control ray. And that will be that. Oh, that was the thing. Was that the April thing? Was UFOs? Government confirmed UFOs. What the fuck was that all about?
They just decided there wasn't enough.
People, right? I mean, what was the thinking behind that? I've seen the memes. Donald Trump is like, people are starting to figure out, we don't know what the fuck we're doing. We're just sitting here playing with our corona dicks, and we're not actually getting anywhere near vaccines. So, release the UFOs. The right wingers will eat that shit up. And, I mean, no one did. No one gave a shit. Okay, I don't remember a single person being like, oh my god, aliens have been confirmed. And I don't understand it, but also that's right. That's what should happen. I don't know. I can't say I'm proud of people because I'm sure it's not something, whatever the reason is, I'm sure it's not something to be proud of, but people did not give a shit. And I can only assume it was panic, right? It was COVID panic, and no one cared enough about that. But I don't know. I don't understand it. Did people really believe what the government was saying? I never saw the pictures. Not really. I never saw any statements or whatever that were made. I just saw the memes. But I heard, the government released supposedly confirmed UFO pictures. And I saw one tweet of a guy who's just like, a UFO is just an unidentified flying object, so it could be anything. If I throw a dildo through the air, hits you in the forehead, that's a UFO or something like that. Which is true. Absolutely true. But again, I feel like that's over. To say that that's the reason no one cared about the UFO sightings, I feel like is grossly overestimating the general intelligence of the American population, and especially the demographic that's going to be seeing the UFO pictures. So
It's videos, actually.
it is the videos, sure, great, awesome. It's shocking to me that no one was talking about this, talking about, oh, I knew it, I knew I was right. No one even said, we need to redo the Area 51 raid now that we got this confirmation. It was surprisingly silent. And I'm happy about that. So, I don't know what the point is in complaining about something I'm not even upset about. But on to Kyle, which is what I really want to talk about. It's not, actually, but I feel obligated to cover it because it is something that's happening at the moment. Kyle. So, Elon Musk's 19-year-old punk rock big titty goth girlfriend has been confirmed pregnant, and they have decided to name their child, I believe, Kappa? Kappa, the Greek letter kappa, which makes the K sound in the Greek alphabet, right?
This looks
Am I right about that? Is it kappa?
It's a capital X.
Look up the fucking Greek alphabet. That can be the only thing that makes the K sound, right? Hard K. Second letter AE. The A, or well, it's not called that, but it's the A with the E inside of it.
Kappa's a K.
Fuck. What's the X?
Yeah,
I thought X was C. Well, anyways, I know the next one is the phonetic I sound, which is an AE. So if you ever look in a dictionary or like on dictionary.com, when you find a word, it'll give you the spelling, and that'll have like the separate the syllables for you. And I think stresses will be in all caps, and then below that it should have the phonetic spelling of it, so how to pronounce it, which, as with many things, only I find interesting because I'm a fucking nerd, but I do find it interesting. Anyway, so that's the next letter. It's the chi, and then the L is A for alphabet dash 12 for the 12th letter in the alphabet. So Kyle, everyone already knew that, but you know, I'm gonna rehash it because what can I say? I'm a sellout, right? I mean, my views have been declining since video 1, so views have been declining ever since the anime body pillows left the picture. So you know, it's possible that the secret ingredient was Johnny. All I knew was Johnny's phone and his angelic weeb voice to propel my views. But regardless, that's neither here nor there. Kyle, I do have to wonder, because I can appreciate the meme in the name, and I've heard, and I know, I understand, Elon Musk has fallen out of favor with the internet. And while I hate to be the guy who jumped on the bandwagon and back and forth, who ping-pongs on a person, on a celebrity figure just because of what the internet says, I have to admit, this one threw me for a loop, and I have to confess that I fucked this one up as well. Elon Musk is not evidently the dank master we thought he was. Very disappointing. One of the best memes to sum it up was that he is not Tony Stark as we thought, but actually Obadiah Stane, which is unfortunate. And honestly, if he hadn't grown his hairline back, he would probably look like him too. But it is a shame. I don't know what to tell you. I'm pretty sure all that we have left, basically, now that, you know, Elon Musk is gone, fortunately, new growing replacements, is if we can combine Mr. Beast's fortune, his vast mysterious fortune, and huge fan base of people who are willing to support whatever he endeavors, with Michael Reeves' mad genius. If you don't know, Michael Reeves, incredible wacky wild fellow, makes some of the coolest shit.
Link to his channel in the iCard.
That isn't there. No, we're not fucking doing that.
Oh.
You can't. I don't give a shit.
Link to his channel.
Maybe in the description below. Not that anyone ever reads that. But Michael Reeves, he's made. If any of you have seen like one of his videos or like have seen it on your suggested and never clicked on it, it would have been the racist Elmo. He made a racist Elmo, which was, again, legitimately cool. Fucking hilarious. Okay, that's the guy. It really is astonishing to me how much the guy can entertain while actually doing really legitimately cool and interesting things, really applying technology as well. Applying also new technology, like he makes extensive use of 3D printing to make parts he needs cheap, to custom make parts he needs cheaply, because at one point, you know, that was a huge thing. It was, if you want to be some like freaky little dude making shit in your garage, you got to go dumpster diving or something, because you're not going to be able to afford the specialized parts you need. Now you can 3D print it.
He's just use cardboard.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, and then he comes up with amazing, hilarious ideas. But again, he applies it very practically and realistically. He made a Roomba that screams when it bumps into things. I would 100% buy that if it was marketed. And obviously, it's not gonna be easy, incredibly easy to. What the fuck are you showing me, man?
I don't know.
Okay, thanks for nothing.
Yeah, continue.
Obviously, it's not gonna be terribly easy to mass produce those things, but I mean, come on, get a patent for that. redesign the Roomba part itself. Look, I know I'm just talking out of my ass. It's not ever gonna happen, but I would 100% buy that. If he could, one thing he could do, go to Roomba with the plan and sell that to them to make their Roombas have a scream option. Again, I would 100% buy a Roomba like that as soon as I had the money. I can't snap well. I'm an incompetent snapper. Ha, good job, William. Oh, you're inadequate too. Shut the fuck up. It's too late now. Screaming Roomba, racial detection Elmo, and most recently, he made an army of drones. So he didn't make an army of drones. He bought a bunch of drones and made a way to control them all remotely, simultaneously, and so they could work collectively as a unit. Drone army, definitely. If anyone's gonna send that out for the, July plague or whatever, it's gonna be Michael Reeves with his drone army. And then he's made, what was that? He made a car that you can drive with your mind. It's not the most practical of his creations. It drives. It accelerates when you're calm. No, it accelerates when you're concentrating and stops when you're calm, which is obviously slightly flawed for the purposes of avoiding crashes or any accidents on the road. Not great. If you could make it stress brake, that could work a lot better. Regardless, he made it work. Most recently, he's made honestly a vast improvement to whatever the robotic surgery tool they're using right now is, which is like this little, it's honestly just designed after and there will be visuals so that I'm not just talking hot at blowing bullshit into the air, but the surgery bot that worked on Darth Vader and shit, they just ripped off that idea absolutely and made a smaller, shittier version of that. I don't remember what they called it, but anyways, they're using that to help with surgery, and it's not amazing. Michael Reeves points out many of its flaws. It's slow as shit.
Christ. Let's Tape It just uploaded 3 minutes ago. Just now.
Oh, this is perfect. Play the video. Put the video in the video. Yo, what is it?
I'm waiting. It's really
Do I have notifications on for him?
It's a hammer.
He taped a hammer?
He taped a hammer.
Genius.
Yeah, you have notifications, and I
Well,
saw it on the thing.
What perfect timing. What will he think of next? A hammer. How quaint.
Cooked spaghetti, that sounds disgusting. Don't tape.
That was a bad one. That was a really bad one.
Have you watched
And by bad, I mean awesome. I haven't watched them all. I wish. Anyways, his most recent invention was he made a medical surgery tool which can wield a scalpel or kitchen knife. It's interchangeable, which is pretty great. But it's universally mobile, so it can go anywhere on the patient's body and stab downwards. The important actions. But you can use it for making precision incisions, and it's controlled by your hand, but not touching it. Obviously, that would defeat the purpose. It's got a motion tracker using the finest in Wii technology. Track your hand movements and move with it up and down, in and out, left and right. It's completely three-dimensional. It's fantastic. It's absolutely phenomenal. Anyways, go check him out if you don't know. Michael Reeves, into cool shit, absolutely insane. Him with Mr. Beast's fortune, with the Hacksmiths, professional team and more industrial know-how. If you don't know Hacksmith, he's basically a guy whose mission in life is to create a fully functioning Iron Man suit. I assume with everything minus the arc reactor, unfortunately. So him with the programming knowledge of Michael Reeves, which I think...
You mean Linus Tech Tips?
That in the past, when they needed programming, they got it from Linus Tech Tips. And of course, not to in any way, be a naysayer of our god, Linus Tech Tips, but he's a very busy guy, right? He's got a lot of techs. He's got a lot of tips to tech to give to our techs. He's got a lot of tips to give to our tech, So we wouldn't want to take him away from his job. So, and also, you got to keep him pure. He's got to remain. Because what we're going to do is take Mr. Beast, Michael Reeves, and Hacksmith and fuse them together the Fly style through China's recently developed molecular transport thing.
That was actually 2 years ago.
It was a while ago, exactly. So by now it's probably developed enough to transport a whole human into
That's
another
probably where
human.
Kim Jong Un went. He teleported. He tested the
He
teleportation.
teleported himself molecule
But
by
they
molecule.
didn't know where he landed, so they thought he was dead for a while.
No,
and
it
then
just
he
took a long
teleported
time,
back.
you know. Well, they reported he went into intensive care because one of his heart molecules left, and so that freaked him out. So they were watching, and then eventually enough of him went away, and eventually enough of him went away. Yeah, it can do serious damage, and eventually enough of him went away where they were like, well, I guess we have to report him dead. He was medically dead, or what do they call it? Medically dead, clinically dead. Anyways, he was no, but there's
Deceased,
no,
passed
there's
away, gone.
a term for being like dead, as far as there's like an official dead. It's like, you know,
How many people have not been medically
tomato
dead
fruit
but
versus
been alive?
that's the real thing. Is people like William, if your heart stops, you're clinically dead. But if you administer a shock from a defibrillator, you can come back to life.
What's the point of that?
You're not actually
At that
dead, but you're
point,
clinically
though,
dead.
You might as well just die. God wants you gone.
You make a great
Just
point,
leave.
but I'm just saying that there
We
is a
already
medical
have-
term for being dead that
Have enough.
is not technically
Enough
too
of
far
people.
gone to be coming back. Anyways, so they declared him clinically dead. Kim Jong Un died, which was really just like 2/3 of his body being transported to like across the room or something. But because he was being
This is South Korea.
he was being built up so slowly, molecule by molecule, you know. So at first they didn't notice it, so they just assumed he was disintegrating into nothing. But then eventually enough of him came back, and they were like, "Oh my God, is that Kim Jong Un's feet? Is that his like left testicle?" And so they were like, "Well, okay, he's not dead. No, he is dead." And that's how you got the conflicting views of some people saying he was dead, some people saying he wasn't. And then once enough of him had built up, there were some people saying he was alive, some people saying he wasn't, and then finally the entirety of his body transported, and they were like, "We can announce Kim Jong Un not dead. Hit the dab."
But the question is, how do they get that technology from China?
They're one and the same.
Maybe.
I'm sure North Korea's been developing that for just as long. They're always testing secret weapons. Why not test it
A
on?
weapon? Are we gonna teleport? That's what they should have done.
How are you gonna run away from an enemy if you're slowly disappearing?
They should have teleported half of JFK away from his body, and then stopped the machine.
What are you talking about, William? That was such a long time ago. They didn't have that kind of technology. Don't be ridiculous.
What are you talking about?
Shut the fuck up. You're in a joke. I tried to make what you said into something funny.
Oh.
Yeah, and then you fudged it.
Oh.
So now it's just stupid.
It's gone.
How long?
58
Minutes?
hours.
Okay, that's pretty good. You can just cut this part out.
Okay.
Yeah, anyways, we combine those three people together, then we've got our real life Tony Stark. Much better than Elon Musk. I'm not going to get into the Musk controversy because, mostly because I don't know anything about it. No, I have a general idea, but I don't really.
Well, he was like a.
He was
called
fucking
someone
with
a
his.
pedophile.
Oh, yeah, well, you
He
know.
wanted to make a little submarine to save children, but then some dude just went scuba dive down there and saved them.
Yeah,
He was
pedo.
like, that guy's a pedophile.
No, well, he's right. You know? Touching that kid in a rubber gimp suit? It's horrific, disgusting. That child was scarred for life, surely. I don't understand any of that. What? He wanted to make a submarine?
He wanted to make a really small submarine. Cause there was some kids trapped in an underwater cave or something, and it was like a thing. And then Elon Musk
Could
was
they
like,
breathe?
Don't worry about it. I'm gonna save them.
He was
I'm
gonna build a
a
submarine
little
in how
submarine for
long?
them." I don't know, dude. He was testing it. He made a
Was
prototype,
he
and
Jimmy
was
fucking
like, "Look, it
Neutron?
works." And then, and then some dude just
You know,
went
pull it out of his ass like
scuba dive.
Doofenshmirtz?
Just scuba dive and just went down there and
Yeah, no shit, that's what you do.
Elon Musk was upset, so he called him.
Good one, Musk. Anyways, there was a lot more to it because it was a business thing he started to become, just like all the other Wall Street douchebags. Which, you know, one way or another, that's what happens. You can like anime as much as you want, be into dank memes. You're still, you know, absolute power corrupts absolutely, and you know, whatever, it happens. He started like fucking with his own company to like do something with stock value. I don't remember. It was something crazy. He was like lowering the value of his own stocks, so it'd be cheaper. And I guess he was gonna make money on that one way or another. And then he was talking shit about he just became. I mean, there's some things that I don't really understand why people were surprised about. It was one of his infamous tweets was "Free America Now," and honestly, whatever you're talking about, freedom economically, if he's talking about,
I'm pretty sure that's saying that the quarantine is.
he's talking about don't quarantine. Why? I just don't know why people would be surprised about that. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter how much you like Full Metal Alchemist. I mean, a billionaire is a billionaire, right? He wants as much freedom as he can get to do whatever the fuck he wants. If people didn't think he was lib-right, I don't know what they thought he was.
It's true.
I really don't. But I mean, Tony Stark was until Civil War made him full commie. You know, that happens. That's why he gets along with Bucky so well. That's besides the point. Point is, Elon Musk, this thing happened. I didn't see it coming. I'll admit. I really thought the guy was going to pull through and be our meme lord and saving grace. But if anything, this should prove to people. I mean, it's not because they're all going to still be people who have been defending billionaires are going to still defend him because they have been defending people much worse than him forever. But I would say it proves to me, at least in a sense of self-righteousness, that, you know, as a person who already doesn't trust the wealthy to just do as they please and who doesn't believe that you should be able to just trust people with enormous amounts of money and trust that they're going to do what's best for a country or a society or a people as a whole, as someone who already doesn't believe in that, who thinks that government needs to step in at certain points and take precautions and help redistribute wealth to people who need it, I was willing to consider Elon Musk an outlier to say that he was going to be different and be the example of what you could be. And even then, again, I would say, you know, well, he's 1 in a million. How many billionaires have been like that? Bill Gates is pretty good. World's better than Jeff Bezos. He's still Bill Gates. He's not a man's man. That's what we thought Elon Musk was. We thought he's like, he gets it, you know? And that was, in hindsight, very silly and childish to believe. So now I have to say, even the person that I was willing to consider an exception to my general ideas is now no longer an exception. So there's really no argument that could be made anymore at this point, in my eyes, to sway my thinking, to say that, you know, yeah, just let them have you do whatever they want. Don't control what they do. That'll end up great. But, who cares what I say? Point is, Kyle is a pretty dumb name, but I can't say it's his greatest of crimes. What I wanted to ask, though, you know, to no one in particular, but just the world, Kyle, do you think when he named the son that, all the joking aside, because you could do that with, you know, pretty much anything. You do the stupid looking name like that with any normal sounding name, make the sounds with, because it's just, you know, phonetic and letter code and Greek. Did you ever figure out the Greek alphabet thing, by the way?
I saw a whole thing.
Thanks for nothing. Just look up the Greek alphabet.
I saw the Greek alphabet.
And there's no K?
The K. What? K is kappa, which is K.
Oh, sorry, there's no X?
The X is like.
It's she, isn't it? Well, point is, I wonder if he was thinking about the Kyle meme, because, again, like, Elon Musk, like it or not, is still kind of a meme lord. Oh, man.
We can't do that.
That's okay.
Alright.
The dog has entered the lair. He heard dog. It's one of his names. He went under my bed and started scratching. Here, at least do it into the camera, into the mic. Yeah, that's the good stuff. That's nice.
This is a great
Let it
segment.
go for a couple more seconds. This is our best gag ever, by far.
This is a gag. This is just my struggles.
Alright, Plato, shut the fuck up now. Back to what I was saying. It's okay. I'll just talk over him. Back to what I was saying. Do you think he was thinking about the Kyle meme? You know, the guy who drinks Monster Energy and eats drywall or whatever? Because, you know, not the best meme to embrace for your child's name, and just not the best name in general. Kyle. You'll be sick of hearing this. If you aren't already, you'll be sick of it very soon if you actually listen to these regularly. But there's this George Carlin bit. No, but there is a George Carlin segment where he makes fun of a bunch of new soft names. And keep in mind, this guy's the generation before boomers, so this is a considerable time ago. Which
Is he dead?
so George Carlin had this joke where he made fun of a bunch of the new names, soft names he called it, and soft language. I could go on, but I won't. But regardless, one of the names he made fun of was Kyle. Just talking about how, Vinny, Vicky, and Bobby are going to beat the shit out of kids named Kyle. And Tucker. And Dylan was one. I love that. But all these soft names. Anyways. So Kyle, not the greatest of names he could have chosen. Could have chosen something better like Michael. Easily best male name. But, I mean, that's just life, right? Elon Musk is not the man that we thought he was. He's not as great as we thought he was. We've been having a new Moses sent us a new plague every single month of the year. We didn't even get to see World War III. Kim Jong-un didn't even really die. Kim Jong-un's still alive. UFOs are real. Elon Musk is a dickhead. There's murder hornets just flying around. No one really cares anymore. No one ever cared about the UFOs. And there's no one insight to this fucking pandemic that our world is experiencing. Ain't that a bitch?